It's time for part two. So, anyways, last time I left off with Greece taking over all of Egypt and puppeting the rest. That sentence made no sense, but whatever. Now it's time for more Turkish expansion. They try to push into Syria, and they already have some of it from the Russian-controlled territories, which that's not accurate, but I don't care. But eventually Syria is able to push out, and they also decide to take over some land of their for themselves. And now we have another empire just casually here. And the way that they did this was nukes. Yes, this is a universe where the Middle East actually had weapons. What a surprise. But eventually Turkey is able to make the push through, and they start a two-prong offensive right here. And now they have two borders with Greece. They then push down and take the rest of the Syrian Empire. That sounded like I said Assyrian. This is not BC, whatever the frick. I don't know. I learned too much about it in my class. Anyways, Saudi Arabia decides that hey, Turkey, frick, we like you, so we're gonna give you a little bit of a puppet. Because if you don't know, Saudi Arabia and Turkey are friends with the U.S., so yeah, they have to kind of be friends with each other. And I'm breaking the rule for the NATO alliance because NATO doesn't exist in this world. But Saudi Arabia gives them a puppet, so they don't kill them. Turkey then takes this time to take over Kuwait, and then they decide to start an invasion into Iran. With this, there is stickouts through here and an encirclement, and then they start putting archers through, and they take Baghdad. Where's that? Is that Iraq or Iran? I don't know. So they take the capital, which I'm pretty sure is Baghdad, and they keep pushing encirclements until the government finally surrenders. Now the peace treaties, once again, extremely harsh, unrealistic, don't care. So with these peace treaties, we see even more puppets being created. Over here we have a southern puppet, which kind of keeps a nice little balance. And over here we have a northern puppet. They're then eventually split off from the rest of Turkey. The Turkish Empire, or the new Ottoman Empire, but I already did that for a video once, so no. So yeah, that's eventually taken. Turkey annexes even more land, because why not? And then the final little part of the peace treaty is just Turkey getting some additional land right over here. Wrong freaking color. Wow. So they get a spearhead and they are able to, and they split Iran into two, which Iran's pretty unhappy about. So then the borders are finally established, and being separated, Iran breaks up into two governments. Greece is kind of starting to get a little worried that Turkey might eventually go for them, so they decide to push to get some more colonies. So or just annex stuff. Yeah. So with this they start to push into very sandy places. They push in Algeria and Tunisia. And now this trip, although it's very long and exhausting, it is very essential, because if they have more land, it makes them look better. They don't attack Western Sahara because they aided them in Morocco, and they also started an encirclement down here, splitting Libya and Algeria. They're also allowed to have a spearhead, and they encircled the rest of this, and they decide to get rid of some of the puppeted land and just annex it. So now they want to actually get some land that can actually do stuff. So the plan is to go from this little point right here and to reform Iberia and annex it. So after Greece sends a lot of immigrants, a vote is held, and Iberia becomes a country, and Portugal and Spain are united, which is Iberia, if you didn't know. Not Liberia, Iberia. So this is now ripe for a Greek invasion. With this Greece is with the new kind of unorganized government. Greece is able to start taking over lots of territory, and they're able to make a curve right here. Um, so Greece is able to get all of this territory. Take a shot every time I say a country's name. Just freaking do it. Um, So they get all this and take a shot every time I also say that, and take a shot every time I repeat myself because I can't think of anything else to say because I'm a horrible YouTuber. So, anyways, so yeah, Greece gets to take all this land from the newly formed Iberia, and they decide to screw it. Let's just encircle this part because it's easier to draw. So now Greece has a pretty good Second Byzantine Empire. With this more borders are established, and they also occupy the sea. Don't ask. And then they take over the the Iberian Islands, and now they want even more parts of Europe. So they decide to push from here, and they decide to land in what's this freaking island called? Frick. It's Italian. That's all I know. So they take part. So they take this island of Italy, and they want to move into Corsica, but they know France is a little bit too strong, and that would most likely mean war with a bunch of other countries. So they decide, let's do something else. So Turkey and Greece are but right now Turkey and Greece are facing their first actual form of conflict. They're in a game where they try to stop each other from conquering Sudan. Um then Sudan breaks into another civil war. Um so the civil war is broken between these two sides, and then both Turkey and Greece go down there, and the sides think that they're gonna get some aid. They both go rogue. So Greece right over here tries to take most of the land from the north, and also starts a spearhead down here to get some nice tourist stuff. Um, oh, and with this, we finally see a bit of a war break out between Greece and Turkey, but it's very short lived, and it's more of a conflict than a war. But you know what I mean. Turkey is finally able to take the Suez Canal, and they get that sweet, sweet trade, and that also means they have more access to the Red Sea. And Saudi Arabia is friends with them, so they already had a bit more access, anyways. Um, did I just say Axis powers? Wow. During wow during this time, they also decided to take Erythea. It just seemed like the right thing to do. Um, so now that they've officially acquired it, they make a big spearhead into here, and encircle movements galore. So then they once again meet each other, but like I said, they're not in a war, and they're rogue. So Turkey is eventually able to take over quite a lot of land from Sudan, and they also just get a small little controlled part of Saudi Arabia, so they can kind of like connect them. It's not like it's still part of Saudi Arabia, but it's controlled by Turkey. With this, Yemen decides to go to war with the Turkish Empire and side with the Greek Empire. Um, this leads to Oman and Saudi Arabia deciding that they're gonna join in and jump on them. Because if you don't know, Yemen is most of like southern Middle East and the Arabian Peninsula, like right here, except for like these countries, um, aren't are pretty good friends with the U.S. While Yemen is the only outlier here. So with this, they're eventually crushed, and the peace deals. Oman gets to just annex all of it because that looks really cool. It is then eventually renamed into Yemen. And now we have a really cool looking border. Jesus Christ, I wish this was real. That look at that. That looks so freaking good. I'm proud of myself for drawing this. Wow. Look at that. That's great. Anyways, then there's finally conflicts in Sudan eventually stop. Um Greece breaks through one of their puppets so they can, take more land. And Sudan is just now in a bit of an eternal conflict forever. That's never gonna end. Um So then the borders are eventually finally settled, and there is some pretty awful border gore right now, but I don't care. So yeah, now we have more expansion into Africa, and the other places can't really fight it off that well. So now we have some very prominent Greek and Turkish empires, which we'll have to talk about in part 3.